Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson, that's Nathan Fox. We're the founders of lsatdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. Kelly writes in with the subject, what does effective LSAT review look like in practice?
Hi, LSAT Demon team. I hear all the time that reviewing your mistakes is the most important part of improving your LSAT score. But I'm struggling to understand what good review actually looks like in practice. When I review questions I missed, I can usually see which answer was correct, but I often don't know how to pinpoint what I did wrong. I've tried making a mistake log, but my entries end up vague or unhelpful. Things like I misread the question, I misunderstood a word, or I fell for the wrong answer choice.
That
That
last one isn't super helpful, but the first two are helpful.
the first two are helpful, yeah. Kelly says that doesn't feel actionable, and I don't know how to turn those observations into real improvement. But Ben, you actually think that those first two observations, I misread the question, I misunderstood a word, you actually think those are potentially actionable.
I do. I think so. Maybe what you need to do, and you don't need to write this down, Kelly, but you need to just dig a little deeper into what you're saying there. You said you misread the question. Okay. How did you read it? And what does it actually say? Just take note of that. If you do that over and over and over again, I guarantee you, you're going to stop misreading questions.
I think it's one of the most important lessons that every LSAT student has to learn and continue to learn. And when I say every LSAT student, I include myself and
Yeah.
Ben
Mm-hmm.
in that, because as teachers, we are perpetually students of the LSAT. But I don't care if you're scoring 130 or 175, half your mistakes are going to come from misreading things.
Yeah.
Half of Ben's mistakes come from misreading things. Half of
Yeah.
my mistakes come from misreading things. So I don't think there's that much use in filling up a wrong answer journal with I misread the question, I misunderstood a word. But that is a lesson that you have to learn.
And you can dig into that specific lesson for that specific question by just asking yourself, okay, what did I think it said? And what did it say? And that
Yeah.
itself right there is going to tell you something about your reading. It's funny. We're talking about misreading. Her last thing is, I fell for the wrong answer choice. Well, okay, I glossed over that. But really, what you're saying is you misread the answer choice. That's what made you fall for it. Why? How did you interpret it? And how is that different from what it actually said? Just
You
get more
misread
specific.
the passage, you misread the question they asked you about the passage, you misread the right answer that you didn't pick, and or you misread the wrong answer that you did pick. But again, half your mistakes at every level of LSAT prep, at least half your mistakes are going to come from just, dude, all you had to do was just slow down and read it better. And that is a valuable lesson. But we don't do mistake logs or wrong answer journals at LSAT Demon. We tend to think it's a waste of time. People fill out wrong answer journals as like an excuse for not really understanding.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you need to do the mistake log, but you do need to think about, why is the right answer 100% right? Why are these wrong answers 100% wrong? What's the record say? What's the passage say? What's the question that they're asking me about the record? Can I predict the answer? Did I even try to predict the answer? Could I have predicted the answer? Many times our explanations are going to like show you how you could have predicted that answer. And if you didn't, then you're just missing a shortcut that was there to be taken. So consider, could I have predicted the answer? Why is the right answer right? Why is the wrong answer wrong? That's what real review looks like.
Yeah. And another like red flag is that a lot of times people feel like they understand why the correct answer is better than the wrong answer that they chose. And although, yes, There are some LSAT questions where if you removed the correct answer, the most tempting wrong answer could work. But that's super, super rare.
Super rare.
And so when you are feeling that way, when you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see how that one's better, you're almost certainly missing a word
Mm-hmm.
in the wrong answer that completely annihilates it.
Mm-hmm.
And once someone points that out, you're like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah, or you missed a word in the passage that would make it so that that wrong answer no longer makes any sense, right?
Yeah.
There's just subtle misreadings,
Mm-hmm.
small, like every word really does matter. This is lawyer shit. So that's what lawyers do, is they argue about every single word. And if you missed a word somewhere, then now all of a sudden you've got two you think equally good answers. And yeah, you're right, Ben, that people on their review, they're like, "Oh yeah, well I can see how D is just a better one. That's a better
Yeah, it's a
fit. That's a
better
better fit than
fit.
C."
Better
It's
fit.
it's it's close though, or they even want to like chime in and go, "Yeah, but if D wasn't there,
Mm-hmm.
then C would be good, right?" And I'm like, "No, it would not be good."
No.
Like there are cases where I can say, okay, yeah, sure, fine. I suppose you could make a half-assed case for that answer if you were forced to pick one of the remaining four,
Yeah,
but
like
I wouldn't be
maybe
happy about it.
in a strengthen question, right? Because you're looking for the one that
Right.
strengthens the most. And sometimes there's a weaker strengthener, but it's just not that common. But
No.
people treat it like it's very common. It feels good, right? It's like, oh, well, I picked
Right.
the answer. It pretty much makes sense. It's just not as good. It's like a second place finisher in a race. No, and the other one was first place. No, 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 no. It didn't even finish the race. They tripped and they
Yeah.
fell off the track, and you don't see how they fell off the
I
track.
think people feel like they think they're doing something right when they pick the most commonly chosen wrong answer, right? It's
Oh,
like,
I'm
"Oh
getting
yeah, well,
close.
I narrowed it
Yeah,
down to those two and I was close." No, you weren't. Not really, because that wrong answer is wrong.
and that's how
There's a
they're
reason why it's wrong.
distinguishing good from bad test takers.
Exactly. And it's not a test of second bests. When
Mm-hmm.
I read that answer, I knew it was wrong. I didn't have that answer and this other answer and then compare the two of them together
And
and
then kind
then
of
choose the
weigh.
right
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
by weighing and balancing. It wasn't like close. It was when I read that wrong answer the first time, I was arguing against it. I was like, no, that's not, every answer is wrong 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I read it and I looked at it and I said, no, that's there's something wrong with this. This is going to be a wrong answer. And then when I saw the right answer, I didn't have a quibble with it, right? It was like that's the one that I can't complain about. That's the right answer. That's how it feels. The right answers click, right? They like lock in, and the wrong answers are wrong for reasons. So I don't know. Back to Kelly's question.
Yeah. She continues. How should a student actually review a question in a way that leads to progress? What are we supposed to be identifying beyond just the correct answer? And how would we get down to the nitty gritty of why we chose the wrong one in the first place?
Yeah. It's not just about the wrong answer either, Kelly. I was a little worried by her previous paragraph. She had said, um, I fell for the wrong answer choice.
Mm,
But it's not just that, Kelly, because you also failed to pick the right answer. Are you reading all five answers? You need to be reading all five answers. Ben reads all five answers. I read all five answers. All of our teachers at LSATdemon read all five answers. So if you missed it because, oh, I thought B was good and I just picked it and moved on, well, then that's like jumping out of the plane with just the parachute and no backup parachute.
hmm
Right? You have to read all five to give yourself a chance to catch those instances where you thought it was B, but it turned out to actually be E. Furthermore, the right answer is predictable half the time. The right answer is the one that does what the question is asking you to do. And the wrong answers can be eliminated for conclusive reasons. So it's not just about like, oh, let me look at this wrong answer and figure out what's wrong with it. It's also, how good is that right answer?
Yeah. Oh, totally. And I'm glad that Kelly is doing that. And would you say that what you're arguing against is you're like, hey, you got to focus on the correct answer too, right? And why you missed
Yes.
that. I'm curious, not talking to Kelly here now, just talking to everyone. Would you say that the bigger problem is that most people don't focus on the wrong answer they chose? They
It's
focus
true.
on the correct and they're like, oh, okay, I can see why that works. And you're like, yeah, but you're ignoring what, like, huh? Why is the wrong one wrong? Why did you even pick that?
Yeah. I mean, what people do sometimes is they're like hypercritical of the right answer. Oh,
Yeah,
but I
not of the
thought
wrong.
that word made that wrong. And you're like, well, I can see how that word, if you interpret it in this way, could make it worse, but you don't have to interpret it that way. And you could interpret it this other way, which makes it perfect. But not only that, let's look at the wrong answer you picked, because if you apply the same level of scrutiny to that answer, right, often it has to do with assumptions. People are like, well, but to make this right answer right, don't you have to assume X
Yeah, you're like, but do you see the 3 assumptions you're making for
to
choice
pick this
B?
other answer? You have to
Yeah.
make bigger and worse and, wilder assumptions. And so, yeah, you got to work the problem both ways, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I will say one more thing for Kelly, and then I'll let you have the last word. If you find that you're narrowing it down to 50/50s a lot, you're just not being critical enough of wrong answers in the first place. And that's what I see from students a lot, is that well, I knew it was B or C.
Mhm.
It had to be B or C.
Mhm.
And so if you go back and in your review, you find, oh yeah, I was at a 50/50 here. There's a broader takeaway, which is you need to be more critical of answers in the first place. And instead of being in so many 50/50s, you need to sometimes have eliminated all 5. Because 4 out of 5 answers are wrong. And even the right answers aren't always perfect.
No, they have problems, yeah. It's the
And
best of. Mhm.
so you need to be sometimes the right answer is A or B or C, and you eliminated it the first
Mhm.
time through. You were like, nope,
Yeah.
can't be that because I see this problem. But then you also eliminate B, C, D, E,
Mhm.
and then you go back. And so I would just tell Kelly and everyone else that if you're not sometimes getting yourself in that situation where there's no good answers,
Mhm.
I feel the way I experience the test is that there are no good answers, far more common. That's far more common than there's 2 good answers. Like my experience is there's 2 good answers like twice per section,
Mhm.
but there's no good answers like 5 times per section.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Agreed.
You're smart. Thank you, Kelly. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.